welcome in. We're a week removed from the disappointing Minnesota Vikings loss to the New York Giants. After watching a little bit of that game last night and then checking the very familiar 38-7 score, you wonder how we made that Giants team look like they did last week.
Yeah.
But, Daniel Jones against us looks like Tom Brady. Against them looks like Daniel Jones. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, at least we at least got rid of part of the problem, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I could have told you that that was going to happen against that Philadelphia Eagles team. I don't even care that Jalen Hurts was apparently like 50 or 60% or whatever, but like, I don't know, man. That defense is still amazing.
Joseph.
Jalen Hurts looked perfectly fine out there. Music in the misery. Joseph, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Exciting times. Obviously, as we all know, Donatel was fired last week, so that's nice. Obviously something that we were all expecting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
What we got here is very sour but expected. Yeah. It makes you feel worse about our defense, and better that we're finally just deciding to make the change.
It shows how bad we need to make changes other than just at Donatel. Like, there's got to be some big moves outside of that we have to do.
Yeah, but
starting with finding the next right defensive coordinator.
Right, for sure. And so far it looks like so far it looks like we're kind of going a little bit of the younger route. I mean, both of the guys that we'll kind of talk about in a bit here that we've requested interviews with are both in their 40s, as opposed to Donatel, who's, well, how old was Donatel? Like 60 something?
Something like that.
Had to be. Let's find out. I'm
definitely at least.
He was 65. So
65.
Yeah.
I know. It is interesting that Kevin O'Connell did pick a guy that was 65 for a defensive coordinator. It makes sense. I mean, it kind of did make sense. Like, I don't know, you're new head coach, everybody's young. You feel like you want that, that older presence, someone who's been around for a while. But
right. And especially, I mean, on a defense too, where he's kind of supposed to be like that hard, grizzled side of the ball. But
right.
Obviously, as we all know, it just didn't work out. Yeah, I mean, we all know it's a combo. Both players didn't play well. Some of them just didn't fit into the scheme. Obviously, some guys are getting older, as we've talked about ad nauseum on this, some of the streams and videos we've done. Yeah, I agree. Music in the misery. He was there to help transition to O'Connell to head coach. I agree with that. Yeah, I think that was a huge part of it. Mm-hmm. It's just unfortunate that the defense didn't play better. But hey, new times. Looking forward to some changes that, obviously, as we talked about before, gonna see some familiar faces probably not be on this team again next year, which is unfortunate, but I think it also does need to happen, with how bad this defense played and just the way some of the players just didn't look that great. So
yeah, man, watching the Eagles tear them up like that, especially on defense. Because they ended up with just 7 points, that one touchdown there. Man, that was just a game we should have won, and it was just a game that we should have won. Hey guys, for jumping in here again. Music Misery, Joseph. Actually, I had contact with Joseph last time because he did win before, but he wasn't in here, and then I ended up giving him a card. So actually, both you guys who are in here right now, I give you guys both the cards. But of course, we're giving away this Randy Moss rookie card, Marshall jersey, all that stuff. We'll get that going right away here. Let's see. So, let's see. Where the heck is mine? I have too many tabs up right now.
That's why you need a second monitor.
There we go.
Tell you what, it helps.
I know. I need to.
Try getting 3.
All right, guys. Hashtag skull. We're to put the entries in right away here, and then we'll run it at the end like normal. But yeah, man.
So let's, should we take a little bit of time here and start looking into the two so far? I mean, there's going to be more, I'm sure. These are just the early rounds here. Or do we want to start off with that, or do we want to talk about the games yesterday and what we have today before we get into some defensive coordinator position stuff?
Yeah, let's dive in. Let's go into some of the football that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, obviously, like I said last night, we'll just get that one out of the way because we already did the very familiar 38-7 score in Philadelphia.
right, right.
Giants look like absolute dog water, and they are out of the playoffs.
That we kind of
Sure,
it was
but
pretty obvious which teams were going to win yesterday. Today's going to be a lot more interesting, a lot more fun. Um,
I definitely agree. CF interviewing for about 4 or 5 available. I think he needs to. I mean, especially with how bad the defense was last year, instead of just picking like the
mhm,
first guy you want to go with, kind of like he did in the last offseason, I think you do got to put in your due diligence with these guys, especially when obviously the defense is going to be under heavy scrutiny next year because the offense will still be solid, but the
right, right.
defense is people are going to have their eye on that defense next season. It's going to be one of those things where we're not like, and like, again, you're not expecting a full straight up like number 31 overall defense in yards allowed to top 5, but if you can get us into the top 20, I don't see why. Like it's a start, and
Mhm.
this team has enough offensive firepower to where that can help as well. So, but
Yeah, they
first
did a
game, yes,
great job with that with head coaching last year. I mean, we interviewed like everybody,
hmm
including Harbaugh, and he came down with the right decision. So we just got to do something like that again this year with our defensive coordinators.
for sure.
We just have to be careful that someone that we really like doesn't get scooped up by someone else or something, which I could see for some of these guys, specifically the one that we're gonna, that we got
Yeah.
an interview with.
Top 5 or bust. Yeah. I wish. Hey, if we could, that would be absolutely fantastic. I would love to be. I would love if we get a top 5 defense rolling in here.
Yeah, we'll just jump into all the defense
Yeah.
stuff.
But anyway, I mean, first game of the day yesterday was Chargers or not Chargers, Chiefs versus Jags, which was a pretty good football game actually. Jags came up short, but for a team that wasn't in the playoff race until end of this, like second half of the
They
season,
had to
pretty
finish
good.
the
Though I
season
mean, the
4-0,
game
I
was
think.
kind of turned on its head when the refs missed an obvious, comeback block in the back call, but and then the ref, at that one point telling everybody to shut up. That's great for
And
officiating. I love it.
well, and then the big story of that game is Patrick Mahomes has that high ankle sprain, and then he was all pissed off. He didn't want to leave, which is, man, I hate. Like I text Casey this and Dave. I just hate watching Patrick Mahomes, man. It makes me so jealous. Like he's insane, dude.
Yeah.
He's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
His
Chris
jump
Collinsworth, if you
passes.
want to know how insane he was, just listen to Chris
Yeah, I
Collinsworth
know.
gag all over him the whole time.
Right, right,
Chris
right. But
Collinsworth is such an annoying guy to listen to, man. Everything a quarterback does, that's unbelievable. Like Chad Henne, a guy who's been a starter in the league before. I don't
oh
know
yeah,
how
the
he's leading
98.
this drive. Whatever. But no,
Yeah, no,
Patrick
so
Mahomes.
great Kansas City offense
Yeah, Patrick
besides
Mahomes
Patrick
is
Mahomes.
god tier. I mean, everybody thought like, well, how's he going to be without Tyreek Hill? He's doing just fine.
Yeah,
That was
dude.
nuts. Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah, dude. He's crazy. I don't know.
for sure.
I want a Patrick Mahomes so bad. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Kirky, but
everybody wants a
everybody
Patrick
does.
Mahomes so
It's
bad.
just you can watch a guy like that. I see a lot of that's like the whole thing with Kirk with me, man. Like I watch some of these other quarterbacks. Like I like Kirk. He gets the comebacks this season for the most part, other than the last game. But there's when you watch some of these other quarterbacks, there's just so much stuff they can do that Kirk cannot do, which mostly is avoiding pressure and then expanding
Yeah. Like
plays.
I would say, because like Joe Burrow, he's not like Patrick Mahomes type. He doesn't do the things that Mahomes can do, but
No,
he's one
no,
of those
no,
guys.
no.
He's so smart, and I mean, and
But he still
I'm not
can.
saying Kirk isn't smart, but he's mobile. I mean, even though he has the bad knee, he can still run and move around in the pocket a little bit.
Right,
And
right,
he's,
right.
I see a comment. The YouTube site is faster than what we get on StreamYard. So I see another comment from Music in the Misery, which we'll bring up when I see it come through right here,
Yeah, I
which can
got
be
it.
true. I feel like sometimes this year, I feel like there was a lot of times, especially in the last few games, where he was just trying to make the big play. So he held on to the ball a little bit too long instead of just get rid of it. And
Yeah, that
again,
was
and also it's partially on O'Connell as well because he didn't have the proper check down routes and stuff that
yeah. Well,
was kind of
y
odd
you coulda
until
say that
the last play of the game.
yeah,
Then he
the
had a lot
last
of
play
check
of the
downs,
league
but
was he shouldn't
yeah,
even have had a check down on
right.
that one. What the point of check down? But that's what I'm
Let
saying,
alone
even
two of them.
like, that's what, like, annoys me with Kirk. It was an impressive season impressive season for him, but, what annoys me with him is even on that very last play, he got blown up in the middle by Lawrence, and if he had any ability to just get outside, he could have like a Patrick Mahomes would have easily been able to run outside of the pocket there and extended the play, even with his feet or his arm, and he just decides to throw it. I don't know, it's just his lack of being able to extend plays, I guess, outside of the pocket. And all these new quarterbacks that come in, you don't have to be super athletic, but you just every single one of them has that ability to avoid pressure and extend plays. And it's something that Kirk just doesn't really have.
I mean, he
Unless
did
it's
it. He did it quite a few times this year during the regular
couple
season.
times. These players do it almost every single play. Every single
That's
chance.
not necessarily a good thing, though. I mean, that means
Sometimes it
I don't
is.
know.
Sometimes it is. You watch if you go watch Mahomes and Burrow and even Herbert, all those guys.
Oh, so yeah, so you're talking about like the future god tier
Well, I'm
quarterbacks in the
talking
league.
about
Yeah, okay, yeah, you find one of
guys
those every year, right?
that some people would want to call maybe elite or good. You know, the same position like half the Vikings fans want to put Kirk in. So we're if you're gonna if I'm just
Okay,
people
defensive
compare
coordinator,
him to
defensive
them.
coordinators. This isn't
We
about
can't talk
quarterbacks.
about Kirk. Come on, you got to talk about Kirk. That's like the main thing. But no, it is all about defensive coordinators, and
Yeah.
we do have a couple interviews lined up potentially. I think we reached out to them or whatever. I don't know if they're like confirmed or anything yet. But Ed Donatel obviously fired.
And
The
obviously,
first
as we
guy,
mentioned, we're going a little bit younger so far from what it seems.
yeah.
First up, Brian Flores, most recently spent the last season as the defensive assistant for the Pittsburgh Steelers underneath Mike Tomlin, of course. Obviously,
Flores.
Flores has a solid background. Obviously, we know started under the tutelage of Bill Belichick in New England.
Mhm.
Never held the title of defensive coordinator while he was there, but he was the defensive play caller in the final season. The Patriots are so weird how they sometimes they just don't have coordinators. They just have people call the plays, and Belichick just kind of oversees it
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
But
So he pretty much was like a defensive coordinator. Like that's one thing, Dave, if you end up watching this, that we did our research is he is the play caller. So he pretty much was defensive coordinator for the Patriots. He just didn't have the title. So I think, I mean, and obviously the Patriots always have a good defense, and who knows, Belichick probably has a massive, overhead over all of that stuff.
right, well,
But
and like you look at this guy, like the last two times that he wasn't per se like a head. The last couple times he wasn't a head coach, he worked under Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin, who you could say are probably two of the top coaches to ever coach in the NFL. Because Bill
defensive
Belichick,
minded,
obviously, we know his pedigree. His
defensive
defenses are
minded
always solid.
specifically.
So Flores being able to learn about defense under Belichick for all those years, and I believe he was a linebacker when he played as well, or something along the line. Someone in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong there. Flores can do it. I like some of the other options. There are, and that's the thing, and that's why they do got to do their due diligence and do as many interviews as possible.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out what are all the options or realistic options. I know Raheem Morris or
Yeah,
more
Morris.
Morris.
I don't think that. I mean, that one. I don't know why people are thinking that's going to happen. Because I mean, it was going. It could have been a possibility if McVay left the Rams, but since McVay is staying in LA, I don't see a scenario.
Yeah, he'd have to
Morris
just
wants
get
out.
the same. I don't know why he'd come to the Vikings. I like the Vikings
Well,
better. I
Kevin
think we're
O'Connell,
a
if they
better
had a good
team
relationship coaching together in LA.
with Kevin O'Connell. Yeah, that does make sense. But that's like a reach to hope a player leaves his defensive coordinator position now and go to another
Well,
team
right,
for
yeah,
a defensive
yeah,
coordinator
yeah.
position.
Well, had McVay left, I would have probably given it a much better chance.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. Because then he still is, with Kevin O'Connell. Even though last year Kevin O'Connell and Morris were two of the top potential head coaches out there. Well, obviously Morris didn't get one, but then Kevin O'Connell ended up being the one that get one. So maybe there could be some like sneaky bad blood.
yeah, maybe. Who
I
knows?
doubt it.
It's not this year, I think, unless O'Connell pulls him since they were colleagues. Yeah, maybe, but yeah, I just don't see him. I just don't see him leave. And McVay doesn't have to let him go. I mean, it would be a lateral move, so McVay can just keep him there anyway if he wants to. But I just don't foresee it just for that reason. But back to Flores, obviously ended up in Miami as their head coach. When he first got there in 2019, obviously, if you're a defensive head coach taking over a football team,
especially a Miami team,
defensive specialist taking over a football team.
And that was before Tua, I believe, which
It was.
Tua didn't really show much until this year anyways.
Yeah, well, Tua, that's why Flores, who knows how he'd be in the second stop as head coach, because him and Tua yeah, there was a whole issue with him not believing in Tua, and that whole, they kind of butted heads there. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're a defensive guy and you're coming into a team and to be their head coach, the defense is not very good. So when he got there in 2019, obviously, trying to turn that defense around. In 2020, though, things started to turn around. I didn't find all the stats, but I found an article from the end of December of 2020. They said Miami gave up a lot of yards, but Flores bunch is effective in a few key defensive areas. Miami's excellently getting off the field in key moments, something the Vikings defense did not do this year. Ranking first in third down percentage, second in points allowed per game, eighth in sacks per pass attempt, and ninth in red zone percentage. 13 interceptions, tied for third most. One of their guys had 8 sacks, 5 turnovers caused by pressure. So, and Flores was known for a very aggressive defense wherever he had landed. So, I mean, it would be a solid option. I mean, obviously, we all know he had the issues between him and the league based off how he was let go in Miami and the whole Bill Belichick situation with him and Dayball. There's other background stuff, but I don't think that should stop. And obviously, it's not stopping the Vikings from giving him consideration for the position.
Right.
But yeah, I would be perfectly fine with Flores. I know some people are concerned that he didn't necessarily hold that defensive coordinator title, but just the fact that he worked under two of the best defensive minds in football in Belichick and Tomlin. So I'd be 100% fine with this move. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think if we got Flores, I would not be mad at all. I mean, I honestly need to do more of my own due diligence, like moving forward here before we decide
Like
to
this
make
guy, like
yeah
music
make
from the
that
misery, because I don't
decision.
know those two names. I've heard
Well,
them.
I know
But
Evero, he's the defensive coordinator for the Broncos right now, which would be I do like that, I believe, but I still he's another player. Like, is he going to get up and leave the Broncos? I don't know, especially since the Broncos.
yeah, because whoever the new head coach is going to probably bring in his own team,
If
his
that
own
happens, then
coaches.
yes.
Well, they already have to because they fired Hackett.
You don't think they'll keep?
Well, I mean, normally, I mean, if the new guy comes in, but usually for a defensive coordinator
Because he
position,
had a fantastic season for such a
yeah, but
shitty
normally if
team.
you're coming in as a new head coach, you're going to pick your own coordinators at the very
Yeah,
least.
yeah,
Position
yeah,
coaches
yeah.
you might keep around, but coordinators
Coordinators.
probably not.
Yeah, you're probably right. I would definitely look into him. I know another guy that we have.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry to
No,
keep
you're good. You're
interrupting
good.
you, but I see one more comment coming in here from Music and the Misery. Peyton is a leading candidate there, and he
Right, right.
wants. Well, they were talking about Fangio, but that'd be awkward. Fangio going back to Denver to be their
Oh, that's what I was gonna
defensive
say.
coordinator.
Fangio is the other guy people have brought up for us too.
Yeah,
But yeah, I know that. I mean,
but
I
also
could still
Fangio,
see it.
Donatello are like this, so that could kind of scare you away from. And Fangio might be saying like, "Well, that's fine. You can bring me in, but if you bring me in, I'm bringing Donatello with me." So maybe that's why it's not working out. But
That's
anyway,
gonna throw him off. We
go
just
on with
get
your thoughts. Sorry.
Fangio, and then he just hires Ed Donatel as like his assistant or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's the thing was Donatel never had a defensive coordinator position. So obviously his first one it didn't work out for him.
Yeah,
Fangio, he has
Donatello had been a coordinator before. Yeah,
a defensive coordinator.
he was with Green Bay before. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought that was his first time. I thought it was this. Oh, never
That's
mind.
what I had thought too, but someone had told me different. I looked it up, and sure enough, he had a couple other defensive coordinator stops. I'm pretty sure.
Well, then I don't know what the hell we were doing picking him. There had to be better options.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I think if we picked at this point, like obviously I need to do more of my own due diligence to look into some more of these candidates. It's just a defensive coordinator. It's like I don't care that much until now. Obviously I do now. Up until this point, like I don't really look into that shit that much. But Flores is a guy that who has had success. Like him, he's bounced after that 2019 season with the Miami Dolphins. Yet he did bounce back with 2 winning seasons. Like Casey said, there's all this stuff going behind closed doors that ultimately is the reason why I think he got fired, even though he was turning that team around, a team that didn't have tons of talent, really, even especially on defense, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna come out with like a top 5 list and all that stuff moving forward, maybe even this week. Then we'll like kind of look into more of that stuff. But right now, like Flores, pretty much we looked more into him. We knew more about him. And then the other guy that we're going to be interviewing, what's his name again? Nielsen for the
One
Saints.
second though, before we move on to him, just some defensive stats from his last year out of Pittsburgh. Obviously, Flores wasn't the defensive coordinator, but it's still interesting to look at. 330 yards allowed per game, 108 rush yards per game, 223 pass yards per game, 40 sacks, 39.4% third down percentage allowed. So, I mean, solid defensive numbers. Obviously, they lost TJ Watt for part of the season, which doesn't help. But yeah, the defense was okay. No, definitely better than ours. So
yeah, and I also want to bring up for Flores, according to PFF in 2021, Miami Dolphins had the 6th best defense, and in 2020, so it's 2 winning seasons. They were 15 on that season, but each year they did go up. I
Right.
don't know. He's a guy I would not be mad if we did get him in there. He definitely has that history, like you said, with Bill Belichick stuff. He's younger. I like the younger thing. I definitely want to go younger this year. Um, so yeah, I mean, if we went and picked him today, I wouldn't be upset about it.
Yeah. So I guess time will definitely tell with that. So we'll see. I mean, it's obviously still early in the process. Moving on to the next guy out of New Orleans, Ryan Nielsen, co-defensive coordinator, I believe. Let's see. I think I saw he had been with the team since like 2017 in some different positions. As of late, yeah, co-defensive coordinator, defensive line coach. This last season, their defense was actually pretty solid, 314 yards allowed per game, allowed 130 rush yards, which isn't great, but there's also only one team in the league that allowed there's a couple teams allowed under 100. Yeah, I was looking at different stats there. But yeah, obviously not great, 130 allowed per game, but only 184.4 pass yards allowed per game. But sometimes that does happen when you allow people to run all over you. Let's see, 83.8 QBR allowed, 48 sacks, 41.6% third down conversion percentage. So not terrible.
Yeah.
But
Wait,
again,
what
you
position
kind of
did
look
he
at
hold
it,
for them?
meh does kind of feel right with that. I mean, it's not an exciting name, and that defense was, I mean, obviously their offense wasn't great under Andy Dalton this season, but I mean, some solid defensive numbers. I mean, obviously the yards allowed is what you really like to see, especially coming off a season where we allowed like 70 more yards per game than that total. So
Right. Yeah, I would definitely choose Flores over this guy for sure.
yeah, but I mean, obviously, I don't know. It's not a very exciting name, but again, it's nice to see that at least they're not leaving any stone unturned with some of these interviews. So
Right. Hey,
that's a
I'm
big
glad
part.
that like right away. I was happy to see that Flores was the first name that came up. So they kind of give you an idea, like, all right, like the direction they're kind of going with that. So I did like that instead of just, even if it was just this guy, like, I don't know, guy that no one really knows. It's kind of nice when you have some guy, and I wouldn't say it's for bad reasons. Like Flores he's been a productive coach.
Right.
And just other circumstances kind of halted that. But so I don't know. I still think he could come in and be that guy potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's number one on my list yet. Right now, my list is pretty short, so he might be. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, we get someone good in there.
Yeah.
But
That would be ideal. I mean,
someone
it
that's not
can't
Ed
get
Donatel. We need more fire. Like we kind of do need that guy. And I know we had a interview or a guest with Wabi. This was, I don't know, twice now, right? I think one of the things he says is like in any coaches, it kind of like we had a what's his name for the defensive coordinator for Bills right now, Frazier,
Oh,
Leslie
yeah.
Frazier, and how his his persona was really soft or whatever, and then we all wanted a Zimmer, and then now we're like, oh, now we want this KOC. Like it kind of goes ups and down. As soon as like something's not working, like if KOC doesn't work, we're gonna be like, oh, we need more of that Zimmer type or
Yeah.
whatever. And I do feel like that's kind of what it is on our defense this year. Because Ed Donatel, he seems like someone. He looks like a Marine, or like, I don't know. He kind of looks like he looks tough, but man, his defense was super soft. So I would like to have a defensive coordinator that comes in here and can fire our defense up and just make them a little bit more fierce for us.
Just a second.
They request an interview with
Let's see. Oh, yep.
Dizio.
Yep. 4 hours.
Oh,
4 hours ago from NBC.
damn
Music
it.
in the Misery. Thank you for hopping in and giving us all this information.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Good thing, or too bad we didn't make that decision last year. Who knows? We'd still
Vikings have
probably be in the
also,
playoffs
yeah,
right now.
yep, they're on the list to interview.
Okay. So we're going after the guys right away. That's good. I don't know how many other teams are looking for defensive coordinators this year yet, but
So, yep, Vikings
I'm glad
request
we're
interview.
going right out there.
Yep.
That was perfect. Like
Defensive assistant.
right after the season ended, we didn't waste any time really. It was a couple days. They had the press conference, and the next day Ed Donatel's fired. It wasn't like let's wait a week or a couple weeks. They fired him, and like 2 days later, Flores came up as a potential candidate or interview candidate at least. So I love that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those. And actually, speaking about that name right now, he was in the. Yep, I believe he said. Yep, he was in the running last year with
Donatel.
or Donatel. But and this is always a nice thing to see, as we kind of talked about when new coaches come in, keeping certain positional coaches. He was with the Seahawks last season. Prior to that, spent 9 seasons with the Chicago Bears, sticking around through 3 different head coaches in various capacities, including serving as their defensive coordinator in 2021. So, again, and he's only 39 years old. Won't turn 40 until April. So there you go. When you talk about the young guy, like that's pretty
It's
cool.
good, man. You gotta love that in Quezzy and KOC. Just come in here and make sure. That's one thing. It's nice to see that, man. They want this bad. I think man, we made the right choices with them for sure. We just need to figure out the draft thing a little bit, because I wasn't huge on our draft haul last year, even though we picked a lot of players in positions we needed to fill, especially now. But man, Kyle Hamilton, I think someone said Kyle Hamilton was PFF's top-rated safety.
Yeah.
He was right there, and I wanted him bad. And it sucks that we traded back just to get – hopefully Lewisine ends up being a beast. But you're talking about a guy that they were saying was like the best safety to come in the draft in a long time. And he showed it, according to PFF, at the very least. So hopefully we see that change a little bit. But
how was the Bears defense back in 2021? Were they solid under how do you pronounce? Is it Decides? How do you pronounce his name?
I don't even know. I would butcher that so hard.
Let's see, well, as of this was in our the Bears.
Which year? 2021.
2021, allowing just 4.4 yards per carry to opposing running backs. May not be as good as or elite as 2018 and 2019.
Not very good according to PFF.
But also PFF had us ranked number 4 defense.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, I don't know now. I like PFF for some things, but
2021 defense for the Bears displayed a tough and scrappy attitude with a clear goal of neutralizing opponents.
So. I do like that. We need that tough, scrappy. That's what we need. That's what we were lacking big time.
I see us trading back our first rounder, either for multiple 2s or later picks, or at least a later first with a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The idea we need to compile more picks, because going into this draft with only 4 is not.
I say screw this year. Get as many picks for the next year, and then trade up everything you can to get Caleb Williams in 2 years. I need a franchise quarterback, dude. We need something.
But also you gotta, because remember a couple years ago, or a long time ago. Speaking of USC quarterbacks, when Matt Barkley was supposed to be that guy, goes back to school another year, hurts his shoulder. What's Matt Barkley doing now?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. Dude, Caleb Williams is so good, dude. If you go watch some of his highlights, he looks like Mahomes mixed with like a Josh Allen.
What was the reason that he left Oklahoma?
His coach moved to USC, and I believe that's the reason why. I think he just followed his coach. Like, I don't think there was another quarterback that was going to take his starting position or anything like that.
What do we got here? Hoping San Francisco loses in heartbreaker so we can offer up to Neal in a trade for Trey Lance. Let him sit here behind Kirk. Kirk don't like it to trade Kirk.
I would do that. I would trade for Trey Lance, even though his injury stuff is kind of sketchy. But man,
he's not that guy. I mean, I would be fine if trading Daniil for him though. I would probably do it. I would
take the chance depending on the trade. At this point, I'll take a chance. Like, I know he has talent. I would take a chance. I would honestly take a chance on Zach Wilson.
I would trade a 3rd or a 4th round pick for Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson. I mean, he might fail, but he's a 2nd overall pick with talent that you can't teach. I would take the chance.
Yeah. I mean, Robert Salah coming out and saying like, oh yeah, I mean, we're not going to give up on him. He's definitely going to be part of this team next year, yada, yada, yada. That's just trying to get a higher draft pick for him. That's not actually the feeling over there.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get anything less than
I thought I saw a report yesterday. It doesn't sound like the feeling is Trey Lance in San Francisco either, because it sounds like barring some sort of massive improvement in the offseason, they're going to stick with with Brock Purdy. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I would take something. You have to just if no one wants Zach Wilson, but I don't know. I know Zach Wilson or Trey Lance. Josh Rosen got a 2nd and a 4th rounder from Miami when they traded Josh Rosen. Yeah, so, and Josh Rosen was like the 10th pick of that draft and was not near the prospect Zach Wilson was. So I can't imagine the Jets are planning on taking anything less than a 3rd. And honestly, I'd be surprised if they even take a 3rd for him. At this point, you might as well just say, fuck, you wasted a 2nd overall pick. You might as well just stick with it. I don't know.
Buy low, sell high, crazy stock. All right, stick with the 3-4. So now, correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody in watching that knows, but I looked it up, and is it true that Flores traditionally ran 3-4s, whereas the Saints ran a 4-3 defense last year? Is that sound accurate?
We can't figure out the Saints, but we believe what
Because
does Belly
if
run?
that's the
Does
case, like
Belichick run a 3-4?
it doesn't make a lot of sense to me because you think you think O'Connell would have a defensive direction and be like, here's the type of coach we want to go with. So if your first two interviews are ones at 3-4 and 4-3, does he know? I don't know. You feel like he would have an idea going into it. I don't believe he was 3-4. Okay, so he was 4-3 and his stops. Okay. If that's I just looked it up quickly. I couldn't actually find anything because Google's not working for me right now. I can't find the right stuff. But if that's the case, then if we're interviewing 4-3 defensive coordinators, that's might be telling.
Yeah.
Which I mean, and that's the thing. If you go 4-3, I think there's a heightened chance that maybe we keep Daniil around because Zadarius Smith isn't a 4-3 linebacker. Like he's not a hand in the dirt pass rusher. So I could see him being gone if we do decide to make that jump into a 4-3
Yeah, it will be
defense.
interesting. Again, guys, we are giving away this Randy Moss rookie card, Marshall jersey, blue foil. All you got to do is put hashtag skull in the chat. We have 2 entries right now. Hashtag skull in the chat to enter this giveaway that we will give away at the end of the show. Easy. Can't really be any easy. All you have to do is subscribe. All that stuff's easy.
I was wrong. Google says he's 3-4. That's what I thought too. So that seems weird to me then that we would interview 1-3-4 or 1-4-3. I don't know.
I mean, I think obviously, like most of the players, at least on our roster right now, know how to play in a 4-3. And we only have 1 year of this 3-4 thing. So I don't think, like, whatever we decide to choose, I don't think it'll be the biggest deal. Obviously, as far as like Daniil Hunter and the Zadarius Smith thing, like you said, I do think like as far as the players and what we're gonna do with them, it's gonna be important to figure that out now. But yeah, I mean, since we were talking about it, let's go into like which players, like veteran players, do you think will be here next year? Which players do you think will be gone next year? Why? Like we got Cook. I know he has a big contract. We're gonna make a video in case he's already like gone. We're gonna make a video and kind of dive into the contracts and everything eventually here. But as far as just rate what you can think right now, like Cook, I think he's due 14 mil next year or something.
Yeah, let's just stick to defensive side of the ball for now, since that's kind of what we're talking about. I again, like I said, like that one play just really kind of showed me some things where three of our top guys for the last like 10 years missed a tackle on Matt Breida, who was the only guy to score a touchdown for the Giants last night, by the way. For some reason, I hate to say it, but I see both Kendricks and Smith both being gone. I could see Harrison Smith retiring with the way that his post-game press conference was last week. It just struck me as a guy that knew he was done. I don't know. We'll see. I guess time will tell, but so many guys are on the trading block. I mean, I would say if you're looking to trade some of your defensive stars, I would say Hunter and Kendricks are like the top 2 guys that are right there. It's like, make us an offer. I would say those 2 guys are top of the...
I don't know, man. Daniil Hunter's 28. Like he is literally at like the peak of his prime.
But if someone offers you a first rounder for him,
yeah. I mean, if we use that for quarterback, you know what I'm saying?
But I mean, but if you go back to a 4-3 defense, it's going to be tough to go into that with no like premier pass rushers. So that's where I would almost say
you can't get a premier pass rusher. They're not easy to find. That's why they're like the other than quarterbacks, they're the other position that gets drafted number 1 overall.
That's why the Dolphins traded away a first rounder to get Bradley Chubb.
Yeah. So I mean, if we got offered a first rounder, I don't know, but then we won't have like a pass rush at all unless we kept Zadarius Smith, I guess. But he's actually, if
you go to a 4-3, Zadarius Smith is, I hate to say worthless, but
right.
Worthless. Yeah, I agree. And hopefully we see a lot more of that. And that's the thing. If we get rid of Kendricks, that's going to open the door right up for Asamoah to jump into that starting lineup next year. And
we need that speed.
From what he showed in the small sample size, sure, again, it's a small sample size, but I think he's definitely earned, if not a starting job, at least a ton more playing time.
And I feel confident with him as a leader too, because obviously that middle linebacker spot, especially if we go back to a 4-3, is kind of like the leader and usually wears the, what is it, like the helmet or whatever, the Mike helmet, calls the plays, whatever. But he was really good at that in Oklahoma. Like he was the heart and soul of that Oklahoma defense. So I do think that's going to work the same way if he was to take over that spot.
See us going back to 4-3. Both are good to keep. We have tons of young talent to replace if needed on the line and linebacker. Both are good to keep, as in who? Zadarius Smith and Daniil, or I don't know. I'm really curious to see what we're gonna do this offseason. I
I
mean,
know
it's
it's going to be crazy. We're going to lose a lot of these players,
okay.
but
So
it's
keep
so weird
Za'Darius,
because
keep
Za'Darius
Za'Darius and Daniil.
and Daniil.
I mean, that'd be
I
interesting in a 4-3, but I'm just curious how Za'Darius Smith would fit into a 4-3 defense.
I mean, he's a talented guy, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, we've seen the draw. Like, Daniil Hunter still had what, like 9 sacks this
10 and a half
season?
sacks. Yeah,
10.5 sacks this season.
and he
Obviously,
started
we
off
didn't see it.
slow.
Right. But he got used to it. So I
Oh,
don't
right,
know.
yeah.
I think it's more important. I
He's a
do probably
linebacker.
think it's better for Daniil Hunter to be in a 4-3 and then have Zadarius play something that's not normal for him compared to this year where it was more Zadarius Smith style. Because I think Daniil Hunter's a freak. Like I think he's a more talented player than Zadarius Smith. I just love Zadarius Smith. He's a talented, no question about his energy. You
Yeah,
love his
for sure,
energy.
for sure. But yeah, it'd be. I mean, that's the thing. Like,
It could be like outside linebackers too. Yeah.
if you start shedding contracts, you could probably keep both those guys around. If you get rid of the Thielens, the Delvins, Kendricks, Harrison Smith, kind of chop some of that cap space away and
Hicks will be
extend these
gone.
guys, especially extend Daniil. Put Wanham opposite Hunter, trade Hicks, and put Osmo with Kendricks if you don't trade as well. That's a good that'd be a solid lineup option. But Wanham is one of those guys that he strikes me like being a 3-4 stand up pass rushing linebacker. But I mean, obviously in the 4-3 he showed talent as well. I know a lot of people said a lot of his sacks were
He
not
had a
like
lot of sacks.
true sacks because like
Yeah.
I think he had 3 in the Bears game back in 2020 2021 because Justin Fields just held on to the ball too long.
And
But
we've
obviously
seen
the
some.
numbers are there. The guy does get to the quarterback. He's not a premier pass rusher, but he's definitely a solid
Yeah.
depth piece. And Patrick Jones,
That's what I was gonna say.
who also strikes me as a stand-up outside linebacking or a linebacker pass rusher guy. But it'll be
But
interesting.
we do need more bodies there,
He could
especially
slide
in
at
in the
DB and
middle
drop
there.
coverage. True. I was sick and tired of seeing Zadarius and Daniil drop in coverage. That's just not their thing. But Wanham definitely strikes me as a guy that would be better at that. And we got one more comment coming in here. I hate how far behind. Jones is
Mhm.
definitely good at both. That's fair. Yeah, Patrick Jones is high energy as
Yeah,
well.
we
I thought
saw
he
some
stepped. I mean,
progress out of him.
he didn't step up. I mean, obviously he looked great in the preseason. Didn't step up as much in the regular season, but still looked solid at points. So I'd be
So what
fine
do
with
you
that.
guys think as if I'm gonna switch to offense for a second. If we were to cut,
You
we
go ahead.
couldn't figure out a restructure or
Go
any
use the bathroom quick. You
yeah.
keep.
If we weren't able to figure out a restructure or anything with Delvin or whatever, he had over 1,000 yard season. I can't imagine he'd want to take any sort of restructure, even though he's due 14 million. And even if he was to leave, I don't know if any other team would pay him that kind of money that he's looking for. But if we were to cut him, I don't think we keep Madison around because he's a free agent this year. What do you guys think? Do you think we would maybe pick another running back in the draft, or are you guys all gung ho on Ty Chandler? Would you guys want Ty Chandler to be that feature back? Because we got some people like because I have all these cards and stuff. I'm just into the whole card thing in general. And we do our podcast and stuff with Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk, which y'all should definitely go subscribe to that. And we're trying to buy up some Ty Chandler cards because if he becomes the feature back, his value will definitely go up there. Yeah, I could see it too. I don't know, like Chandler, did we feel like we saw Chandler have a lot of power? That's the only thing is with Kine. Obviously, Kine is going to be that speed guy, not tons of power. Chandler did show some power, but he's still kind of small, I think. But yeah, I really liked what I seen in Chandler, and I could kind of see him, potentially become like that feature back. Can Bynum play nickel with Metellus and seeing safety? I really love what I saw in Metellus when he did get to play this year. One thing about Cam Bynum, man, I was super excited about him going into this season, and I thought he was really going to step up, but I was not that impressed
Very up
with
and
Cam.
down.
Yeah, he's very up and down all season in that safety spot. He is still super young.
Yeah.
But
and like Metellus just had like when he had to start in Detroit, it didn't go well that game. I know he kind of missed an assignment on one of those deep touchdowns, but Metellus, I mean, special teamer, excellent, and defensive guy. I mean, he made some plays this year. I mean, he had the interception in the first game against Detroit, which was huge. So, goal dual halfback backfield. I'd be down with that.
Yeah, I mean,
I just think Ty Chandler fits more of that what O'Connell ran offensively in LA, where he's not like that
passing, true passing back, true receiving back. There was no question that you can tell Cook is not. He's just not that. I was expecting a lot from him this year.
I think he could have been if we had used him that way when he was younger. And I think
maybe.
But he dropped
quite a bit of balls this year, right?
What was
Like
that?
we gave him he dropped quite a bit of balls this year as like trying to play receiver. He made a couple really nice catches too,
Yeah,
but man, he missed a couple.
yeah,
And Ty Chandler, obviously, he looks like he could be like a receiver
yeah, for
based
sure.
on the way he
As we
catches the
saw him
ball.
in Booth with the catches last year, we compared after the draft. Remember that short you made during
Yeah,
after
yeah,
the draft?
yeah. The
Yeah,
one-handed catches.
yeah.
Hopefully, we
Let
can
me.
see more of that from Booth next year.
I'm seeing a comment come in here that I'm definitely going to agree with. I believe he's talking about Delvin when he says when it comes through here, I'll pop it up on the screen and fumbles. I believe he's talking about Delvin.
Yeah,
But
some
yeah, I
specific.
mean, yeah, I think Ty Chandler is a really interesting prospect. And I know Dave loves him.
Yeah, Dave, I was telling him about like the card thing and trying to buy him because if he becomes a feature back, his value will definitely go up. Assuming that
Yeah.
he'll play well, which I do think. So one question I have, because I'm a big CJ Ham guy, is if Cook was to go, do you think we keep CJ around?
I mean, if you're not going to go with that traditional like running back, unfortunately, I don't
But
think
the thing about CJ is he's stepped up for some catches this year
Yeah,
in
that's true. That's true.
importance.
Oh, speaking of catches, when it comes to Delvin and drops, that Buffalo game wouldn't have been as stressful. It still would have been stressful because it still would have gone to overtime. But when Delvin dropped the ball before Kirk's sneak at the 1 yard line, when he would have just
Yeah.
walked right into the end zone. But yeah, obviously, love CJ. So do we. He's back, born and raised in our
Duluth.
hometown of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Duluth area
Yeah,
up in northern
I've
Minnesota.
said it on this podcast a million times. Say it again. I graduated high school with CJ, so I'm like the CJ stan, and I'm pretty much
Yeah.
I'm gonna root for him no matter
But
what.
even if he doesn't stay on the team, I mean, I would assume at that point he would probably retire unless he wants to go somewhere else or other teams use fullbacks. But
Right, right.
making when did he go there? 2017. So like
Yeah,
a 6 year career.
yeah. I mean, don't get me. Yeah, he's had an amazing career, especially as a fullback, position that's like dying.
Yeah,
But I hope so.
that's
I hope not, man.
touchdowns in big moments. Like that's all you can ask for.
Right, right. And he was what 2-0 in overtime coin tosses. And
Tails
then
never
just
fails.
got in the head of the got in the head of the Bills. No, it's Colts defense going into overtime there with that look he gave them.
Yeah.
But no, I'm hoping that's one thing. It's like I don't want CG to be gone, so
Yeah.
hopefully that doesn't happen. But
For any of the other 3 people in here who haven't entered yet, hashtag
yeah,
skull in the comments.
hashtag Skull to win the Randy Moss rookie card.
Yeah. We'll keep talking for a few minutes here. Give everybody a chance to get in if you haven't already. Yeah, don't feel afraid to just toss hashtag skull in the comments.
Yeah, so back to the playoff games going on right now. Like I said, yesterday's was pretty obvious
I'm
which
excited
teams
for
are going to
today.
win. Today's both these games, like I think who do you got today? So we got
I'm so excited to. I mean, obviously, we know the unfortunate circumstances that ended the last Buffalo Cincinnati game, but I'm so excited to see this matchup, and I think it's just going to be even better since we didn't get to see it the first time around.
Yeah,
I'm so excited. I think
since he was in head,
I think Cincy pulls it off.
You think so?
I think
they take
Cincy
it
pulls
out
it off
because obviously we have the whole Hamlin thing, right? Hamlin. So like they have that whole motivation with Hamlin or whatever, which is a really cool story. Like if the Bills won the Super Bowl, like they're making a movie out of that probably.
Yeah. Okay. So bring a few more comments here. JJ, TJ, CJ, or KJ, and CJ put them in half. Have them drop 100 or 10 pounds in the off season for a shot. Yeah, it could definitely work,
dude. Especially if we go with Chandler. If we go with Chandler and Keeney, it would be nice to have a bigger guy in there that can get those short runs
for sure. But Bengals and 49ers, and this one I forgot about this point. Jonah Williams and one of their guards is out. That offensive line is not very great to begin with. Right. I forgot about that, and that's huge.
Especially against a good defense like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that's huge. But I still do think the Bengals pull it off. So you got Bengals Bills, which is going to be a fantastic football game. I do think Joe Burrow pulls some magic and pulls that one off because the Bills, I don't know, man. Josh Allen has been just ever
up
since
and
the
down
elbow
lately.
thing popped up, it's been kind of iffy. But I love the late game because I'm obviously being a video game fan. Not a huge Warzone guy, but being a video game fan, we got the Tim the Tap Man and Dr. Disrespect matchup in the late window. 49ers versus Cowboys.
Yeah.
Doc's a huge Niners guy and Tim's a huge Cowboys guy. So I'm excited to see how that one ends up, especially tomorrow. Because I'm sure there'll be shit talking tomorrow depending on who wins. I got the Niners just because I think that defense is so good. And Dak played phenomenal last game.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a whole different animal here. And
Yeah,
but
and
I think it's going to be tight because I mean Brock Purdy. I mean, as good as he's played, you're still waiting for that big mistake.
yeah, yeah,
And I compare him a lot to 2017 Case Keenum to where if you have a solid defense and you at least you don't fall down too far, he's fine. But if he falls down a score or two and he needs to like make plays to come back, I just don't know. Because like when you can just use your talent in the out of the backfield and just kind of chewing up clock and chewing up yardage, that's kind of what Case Keenum made some big throws. I mean, obviously, as Zimmer said, Case has big balls back then. So like he made big throws, and Purdy's made some big throws as well. But you're just waiting for that time when he gets put in a bad spot, and can he pull them back if they get down? But I don't know. But I just don't know if they're going to fall down against just with how good that defense is. If what I'm saying, I
yeah.
believe what I'm saying makes sense. If it's
Well,
not, just stop me and call me crazy. But.
yeah, no, they're the best defense. They're the best defense in the NFL right now. And it is like Purdy is just you can't have any better situation than what Purdy has. Even though he has last game, I was so impressed by Purdy. Yeah, once again, Randy Moss rookie card, hashtag skull to enter. Super easy.
Drop it in
Also,
the comments.
subscribe to the channel. Yep, in the comments, hashtag skull. You can enter the chance to win this Randy Moss rookie card. But no, I just think the Cowboys, they seem to kind of, if they play good defense, they seem to choke, and the offense seems to play terrible. And Dak throws interceptions, and their San Francisco's defense is just too good, man.
Yeah.
But do
Cowboys,
I think they're going to be the best choice for the Super Bowl? Man, it'd be crazy if Brock Purdy comes in here and wins a Super Bowl. We saw it with Wilson, but I can't imagine Russell Wilson, but I can't imagine seeing that happen, especially with these teams in the AFC. Yeah. Even though now you got to hurt. Even though now you got a Patrick Mahomes with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, for sure. Cowboys going to come down to their offense for sure. It depends on which Dak you get mainly. Because that offense, if you look,
but Dallas also has a really good defense. I mean, if they step up and they get after Brock Purdy, that could be its own little thing. But man, they got
that
Debo
offensive
back.
line that Brock Purdy's playing behind is amazing.
It's really good. He's got everything.
Christian McCaffrey's get the ball in their hands,
and you're using Debo again. They're using Debo again. They weren't using him correctly, and then now last week they are. Like, what do? You can throw dump offs to either of them, and they're two arguably the best in the league at taking dump offs and making yards out of them. So man, that is an option. So I don't know. I gotta go for
Dallas, but that Dallas offense is loaded with talent. Two good running backs that are totally different from each other in Zeke and Pollard. You got CeeDee Lamb. You have does Gallup still even play? I don't even know
if he's been getting a lot. Schultz has been stepping up again.
A couple games ago.
Schultz had 2 touchdowns last week, I think.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz is solid. So like that
Noah Brown stepping up.
Yeah, Noah Brown.
And then obviously
tight end
Parsons on the other side.
Yeah. So in that defense, man, that team's got so much talent on it. I hate to say it because I'm not a huge Cowboys guy, but because it's like either way you look at it, like I said a few weeks ago that I think Eagles versus Niners would be the most entertaining. I said Eagles Niners and any
Eagles for a second.
Right. I said Eagles Niners and any combination of Bills, Chiefs, and Bengals, which I mean, obviously those are kind of the teams people are looking at, but also that Cowboys Eagles NFC championship game matchup too. That would be a good one because those divisional NFC championship games are always fun to watch. So I think that's got so no matter who's left in this playoffs, there's so many storylines and so many good potential football games, including a neutral site AFC championship game if the Bills pull it off. But it's just there's so many, like no matter what the conference championship and the Super Bowl, it's going to be a fantastic football game no matter who ends up making it at this point because all the teams in it are just fantastic teams. I don't know. And I've always been a big Joe Burrow fan.
So who do you think 49ers versus Eagles? 49ers beat the Cowboys, which I think they will. Who do you think wins that matchup? It's going
to be fantastic.
That would be good. I don't know. The Eagles offense with how Jalen Hurts is playing. Yeah. That's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I don't either just because the Cowboys – if they win a Super Bowl, their fans won't shut up for the next 50 years. And the Eagles, well, we all know the Eagles, but I don't like the Eagles. I don't like the Eagles fans.
Well, them throwing beer cans at us.
Yeah, and I'm not
even NFC Championship kind of gave me
because he's kind of seems like kind of a douchebag.
Who's that?
Nick Sirianni, the head coach. But like player wise, though, I'm a huge Jalen Hurts guy. I think Jalen Hurts is
his career is awesome. I wish we would have drafted him.
Person and quarter. What was that?
I said I wish we would have drafted him. That's what sucks, man. We missed on him just because we had Kirk this whole time. Oh, we don't want to hurt poor Kirk Cousins' feelings because we think he's like Aaron Rodgers and that he's going to get mad. And it's like,
Yeah. But either way, though, it's like, but I'm a huge Jalen Hurts guy, just mainly with the way he handled himself in college with the whole transition that he made. Because obviously getting benched for Tua in Alabama, sitting a year in Oklahoma, I think too, before he took over the starting job there. I might be wrong. Maybe he went over there and started right away. But either way, I love that. AJ Brown's cool, like Devontae Smith.
He's fucking good. He stepped up.
Obviously, a couple offensive linemen are cool. Some of their defensive guys, like
Slay.
I don't know, Slay, yeah. But I don't know. Jalen Hurts is the reason that I actually kind of like them there. When they made fun of our older fans that he was, that's true.
Dude, fuck the Eagles. Fuck the Eagles. But I don't know. I always hated the Cowboys because the Cowboys are the team that they just America's team or whatever, and they just never really do anything. Yeah. So it's kind of stupid.
And the recipients, the winning recipients of the Herschel Walker deal, of course. So that's always in the minds of Vikings fans. So.
Right.
But
yeah,
any last minute entries before we'll talk a few more minutes here, but. Drop hashtag Skull in the comments for a chance to win the Randy Moss rookie card.
Let's see here.
Back in the good old
person.
There you go.
See. Randy Moss rookie card, Marshall jersey, blue foil.
Hashtag Skull in the comments.
Hashtag Skull in the comments. Subscribe to our channel. Every time we go live, we give away these cards. And I mean, hopefully we continue to grow and can bring some sort of money into this. Because everything that we make from our shows, we're going to put everything back in, specifically a lot into giveaways, because we want this show to end up, like, who knows, in a couple of years to give away some really good shit. I think
until
next season we're going
of course we start making like thousands of dollars, and then we're putting some of that's going into the Casey Grande retirement fund. So.
Yeah. I mean, if that happens ever, but for now, everything's going back into some sick giveaways so we can give it away to the people that support us, which is everything. All right, let's bring this up. Let's do this thing. Any last entries? We got 8 people in here. Hashtag Skull in the comments.
Give you another 30 seconds if you're not in yet. Hashtag Skull in the comments. Drop it down below.
Hashtag Skull in the comments. Chance to win this card.
The people that have already won cards are like, nobody else comment. I need to win more. So if you guys want to see some new winners,
I want
drop hashtag Skull in the comments.
That's why I'm surprised Paul's in here. We had someone in here who has won like 3 times at least from us. He's probably just like, all right, I let someone else win. He's been lucky. No, actually, no, we'll run this. There's these things called duck races that are really cool that I want to try eventually, but we'll do that. We'll do that eventually. So if you were going to pick right now, who's your Super Bowl? What team's in the Super Bowl to you?
Super Bowl matchup? Give me 49ers. Ooh, 49ers over Eagles.
That's a tough one, man.
Give me Give me Niners and give me the Bengals.
Damn. I'm going to have to go. I
think that 49ers Bengals. I agree with you, Music in the Misery. I think that Patrick Mahomes ankle thing is gonna come up and end up being a factor.
Yeah, if he doesn't, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to go with Kansas City unless that high ankle sprain is really as bad. Because
the thing about those, like, you get them and you got the adrenaline rush from playing in the game going. But as the week goes on, like today, I bet you that thing is just swollen and hurting right now. Yeah. And as the week goes on, it gets better, but it also gets worse.
Well, so if all I know is if the Bengals offensive line doesn't get healthier before the Super Bowl and they're up against the 49ers
or the Eagles, honestly,
or the Eagles or Dallas, I don't think it's looking good for the Bengals for sure, because man, especially the 49ers.
We saw it happen last year. Joe Burrow was sacked like 8 times in the Super Bowl.
Right. So that should be interesting. But all right, let's run this thing.
Sure.
All right. Where are too many things again? Okay. Boom. Let's go.
50-50 shot. We have a repeat winner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Jim Sal.
Is that new?
He is new. Jim Sal, you in here?
We got a new winner. That's what I like to see. Someone new. I mean, everybody that's already won, like, I'm cool with that. Like, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. But you got to share the wealth. There, he's in. The comment will pop up here quick.
Awesome, Jim. Jim, do you follow us on on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that, Facebook? Because if not, you should definitely do that so we can get your mailing address and all that good stuff.
We will definitely do that on Twitter.
Perfect. Just hit
Sweet.
just hit
Cool.
us in the DMs and yeah, I'll message you and get all that information and we'll send that thing out right away. I know Joseph, who won last week, he wasn't in here, but I ended up giving him a JJ rookie card anyways. His has made it to his house. The Music and the Misery, did your card make it there yet? Hopefully it did. Probably did. Somebody was like, actually, someone who won was literally, I'm in Colorado right now, and someone else who won was like a half hour away from me. I still ended up
Should
just
have hand
mailing it.
delivered it.
I
Met some
told
of
him
the
I could
fans.
hand
Gotta-
deliver
gotta
it, but
start-
I don't know if I'm offering that kind of service
He
yet.
said not. He said he hasn't received it yet. So hopefully
Okay,
soon.
it should be there soon. Be there soon. But all the way to Connecticut, I believe, right? So that's quite a bit of ways.
Yeah. Checking mail now. Okay, cool. And then eventually our plan too, we're going to discuss this, is getting some GG Sports Podcast t-shirts made and maybe giving a couple of those away or what have you. So
all kinds of stuff. Baby steps. We're still trying to figure a lot of this shit out.
Mainly family members and friends that are asking for t-shirts. So, we got to help them out. So,
right.
Anyway, almost on for an hour. That's good. So everybody, thanks for joining. Obviously, talked a little bit today about the defensive coordinator interviews with Brian Flores, with Ryan Nielsen, as well as the other guy whose name Desai, is that his name? Yeah. As well as that one coming up, we've released. We have requested all of those. Talk a little bit about some of the players we think may or may not be here next year, as well as some of the defensive schemes.
Oh, you did it. Yeah, let's go.
But,
yeah, we'll get some in here. We'll get some in here.
We'll figure that out.
It'll be an off-season thing on our list of off-seasons things.
It's much easier to buy in bulks. We're hoping we can get a bunch of people that would either want them, and we can do it that way. So we'll go.
I can't wait to get rid, or I can't wait to give some away though. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a lot of giveaways. No one else is out there.
You got to work on getting. You got to work on getting like a CJ Ham signed jersey that we can give away.
I mean, probably
you could pull that off.
Try doing that. I need to see. Well, the thing with CJ, it's like I want to make sure he's. You kind of want to make sure he stays on this team, man. I don't know what's going on with all this veteran cutting.
Even if he doesn't, though, still getting a signed jersey of CJ Ham would be pretty sick. So
that would be sick.
We gotta start working on that. Got to get him on the show. We got to start working on getting a signed jersey. That's the next. Those are the next steps. But
off-season steps.
Been on for about an hour, so thanks everybody for joining. Yeah, I'm excited to. There's some great grabs on eBay for stuff. Jamie knows.
I'm on in there a lot.
He knows the eBay stuff. But anyway, yeah. So everybody, thanks for joining. It sucks the season's over. It sucks watching the playoffs without the Vikes in it. But also it's exciting to know that we're making the changes that we think we need to make with defense, and got a long way to. We got a long off season. It'll be a lot of fun stuff with drafts and draft previews and whatnot. I'm excited for all that stuff. So, but yeah, thanks for joining, everybody. It's a good show.
Skull Vikes.